Hello traders, welcome to the weekly market overview with me Pierre from PAFX. I hope you all had a great trading week last week and that you are getting ready and having your plans for the next trading week. And if you do not have your plans ready, then I hope that today's session will help you doing so. As usual, we're gonna start with the disclaimer, guys. Please read it carefully and understand about the risk involved in trading. This session is only the way I see the market and the way I will be trading, so it's not a signal in any way. So welcome to today's sessions, guys. If it is your first time here today, please do subscribe to this session to be able to get notification when we go live or when I upload any videos. And if you like this session, please do not forget to hit the like button and support these weekly overviews or these videos. Welcome to everyone. Welcome Adam, nice to see you here, buddy, again. Hello Dafar, welcome to this session. So next week, usually it should be an NFP week, but we do not have this this week, so the NFP gonna be the first week of July instead this time. But we do have some major impact events that we need to keep an eye at. So we start Tuesday with the consumer confidence for the USD. Wednesday, business confidence for New Zealand, BOE Carney speech for sterling, and also Wednesday some news for the US dollar, which is important, the core durable goods. We do have crude oil inventories will spike only, no longer term movement on that. And another speaks from Polos for the CAD. And once again, an important news for the New Zealand that you should really keep an eye at on Wednesday, official cash rate. No one is expecting a hike, but what's more interesting is the rate statement to see if we have any change in the language. Final GDP on Thursday for the US dollar, also important since it's quarter and quarter. And we end the week Friday with current account for the sterling and for the CAD GDP months on months, and the business outlook survey for the CAD as well. So not the most major news events, but as always, very important to keep an eye on those events, because they will give you some movement, at least short term. We start, as always, with the Dixie to see what is the US dollar doing right now to be able to analyze the rest of the markets. It's always important to start with the Dixie in gold. And we will start with the Dixie. As you see, we are on the weekly chart here. And the Dixie been testing this major resistance level up here. Which level I talked about last week, that if we broke and close above this area, that we gonna change our bias to longer term bullish on the US dollar. I'm still bullish, but after last week retest and failed to break above the structure and monthly R1 at that same level on the weekly, we do have the 200 moving average that seems to be acting as dynamic resistance. We had the RSI at the overbought, and we got a little bit dip, and now we have another top which making a divergence on the weekly. If we go down to the daily, you see that we do have a lots of divergence going on since this high up here. So last Thursday there was a try to break above the monthly R1 in this structure, but that failed. And the day ended as bearish engulfing on Thursday, and Friday was the confirmation and continuation to the downside here. So based on that and this rejection on the weekly, one could start looking for some more correction on the US dollar. As you see here, the close was below the neckline here. Bearish divergence, bearish engulfing, and confirmation with the close below the neckline. All that is telling us that we may have some more correction on the US dollar, or possibly some kind of sideways until NFP is also possible. Well, since we are talking only about next week, let's start looking at them one level at a time. So far, for now, we do know that this is an important resistance level, and we've had a very strong and nice rejection here after this evening star formation with these three candles. We've got a nice push to the downside, and we did close near the lows of the day on the Dixie. So for next week, we will keep an eye once again at the 95.15 as a possible reversal level if that got tested, and possibly another bounce lower. Or if we reach the 94 area, 94.10 area down here, to start looking for a possible bounce at that level. Otherwise, if we break this level and the 200 moving average for the 4 hour, there is a possibility that we start heading toward these lows down here, which is also an important support level if that happens. So for next week, first level to the downside is the 94.10. Keep an eye on that. Below that means we're gonna test these lows down here. The best level of support, in my opinion, for the Dixie is around the 92.50 area down here. If that happened, then this is your better support for the dollar. Gold had a very nice run after the break of this flag, and we broke below monthly S1, and that was expected since we didn't have any structure on the way down. But on Thursday, gold find some support at this support level that I had on my chart, based on many tests as flip zone here in this area. So I was expecting some rejection at this level, and my last defense was at the trend line and this structure, this low down here. Now that didn't reach yet, and if we crunch this chart a little bit more, you see why I see this trend line as an important level, and this major swing low here as well. But we do have an important support level, at least midterm right now, that we need to keep an eye at. This could be a reason to give gold a little bit push higher to retest these broken structures, so to probably give you a retest of this level or the neckline a little bit higher as well. Nothing very strong yet to start thinking about total reversal or stuff like that, but the RSI was at the extreme oversold. We reached an important and good support level, so we could start looking for at least some correction higher. But as you see on the 4 hour, the structure is still bearish with lower lows and lower highs. So for next week, I think any retest back down toward this support where we got rejected the first time, that could be a good level, the 1260 area, to look at for a possible another bounce toward the monthly S1 as your first level of trouble. To start thinking about more upside, gold need to break and hold above this monthly S1. If that happen and you start getting any kind of flag or consolidation above that, then you could start looking for probably another retry to test the monthly pivot point or the 1300, which gonna be the major important resistance in this case. Okay, oil. a very strong move on oil last Friday based on the headlines coming from the OPEC meetings. I think it seems like the market been pricing in on this move to the downside, more increase in output, and that the news that came out on Friday didn't really send that signal that we're gonna have much more increase in output in oil. They were talking about 500 million barrels, but on Saturday, when the OPEC and non-OPEC meeting was done, we've got even more headlines talking about even more increase, and it seems like both the Iran and the Saudis willing to increase even more, and that the Saudis seems to be happy with the around the 75 as a good level for the oil prices to the upside. So that meeting on Saturday probably gonna change this sentiment we had on Friday. So it's very important to keep an eye on the opening and see if we're gonna have any gaps. But so far it seems like these Saudis said that the 75 area up here is like the reasonable price, and nothing above that will be good for anyone. So oil is now testing an important resistance level where the price is right now. The 69.50 area up here is an important resistance, as you see here. Been tested many times before we broke it, retested, pushed back a little bit higher, and then started going down. It is also the level where we do have the previous trend line that got broken, this midterm trend line. So keep an eye at where the price is testing right now. I think it is a major move here, very overextended, reached this important resistance level, could give some correction down, but do not forget that now on the 4 hour we broke this major high and this major high. So for next week, if the oil start consolidating at these highs, there is some more to it to the upside. Otherwise, we probably gonna correct a little bit deeper on oil back to retest these areas. Maybe could be the first level to look at if we got any bearish evidence at this resistance level. Yeah. To the upside, it's obvious. Up here, the last high we had around the 73 area is an important resistance, and everything depends on how Monday will be. I think if we got a gap to the downside and continuation lower, then this would be only based on those headlines we've got out of OPEC, and it's not a big volume behind that move at all. Okay. So we start with Forex, and we start with Aussie Jappy that bounced nicely last Friday on the bottom of this box. As you see, we've been inside this range for a while, and to me, as far as this range is holding, there is no reason to do anything else beside trading, buying the low, selling the high of the range. And since we've got this nice bullish engulfing candle on Friday, after a couple of 3 days actually trying to break and close below it, it couldn't do so. That is a good signal for a possible continuation up. So if we go down to the 4 hour, you see that we had this fake below, back inside the box, retest, which gave us a higher low here, and then we broke with this candle. We broke above the neckline. Even the retest to the downside couldn't stay down here. We've got another push, and we ended the day hovering at the highs. So any retest lower, I think it could be a reason to buy Aussie Jappy. Any retest toward this neckline would be a good area to look at for a buy. Your first target is of course the monthly pivot point and this previous neckline. The mid of this range could be a good target if you get any correction to the downside. The deeper the better, in my opinion, and then try to find bullish evidence to buy it and targeting this neckline and the monthly pivot point. Yeah, that is for Aussie Jappy. Aussie New Zealand, as you see, we've been to the downside, reached monthly S1 support here, so it was a clear support area where we got this nice bounce. We tried to trade the retest of the neckline in my trading room, but we didn't get the continuation. We've got this move, but we couldn't break below monthly S1, and on the 4 hour we got this bullish engulfing candle, so this trade was closed on break even for me again, and made me start thinking different here, because after this nice push to the upside and this correction, we do have now our first higher high above this high here and a higher low with a bullish engulfing very strong candle here, making it look like a possible inverted head and shoulder in this area. And it's time to start watching this neckline now, because I think this is possibly to happen next week, that we break the neckline and maybe continue higher to test these highs up here. So that is the scenario. Any retest toward the right shoulder once again next week, if we retest this area down here where we had the S1 from last Friday, could be a possible level to take also along, because once again this seems to be a strong move to the upside. Probably new bulls did enter the market, and we probably gonna test higher toward these levels, and even when if we reach that level, we probably gonna retest the daily 200 moving average as well. As you see, the RSI still have some room to the upside on the daily. On the 4 hour we've have some bearish divergence on that, but that alone is not enough to sell yet, since we've got this strong bounce. So I'm looking mostly for a possible continuation up, and especially if we break the neckline of that inverted head and shoulder. Aussie USD, also same scenario. It did reach an important support level. Overview from last week, and the reason is, you see it clearly here how many times this area been tested as good support and resistance flip zone. So one could expect at least some correction or rejection at this level. And on daily time frame, we've got a nice morning star formation with this with these three candles. So we have a confirmation of morning star formation here, which is a reversal signal. And the look of this bullish candle, it's the first time we got such a strong bullish candle since this whole move to the downside. The RSI was at the extreme oversold and now picking up some momentum, which make us probably look for some correction higher. We broke the neckline of this double bottom, and this signal was sent in the room to go long, probably take the retest as well. We didn't really get a deeper retest, and look for continuation toward 0.75. It is still the same scenario. The levels you probably want to look at for next week. As you see, we had this bottom here that happens to be at the neckline as well. So any retest back down toward this neckline and this possible support level could be a possible area to look for along, targeting 0.75 as major resistance here to retest this important level, yeah, especially if we keep getting that Dixie moving to the downside. That would be much easier. And the reason we've been talking about along in the room, and at this double bottom you see it clearly here on the bullish divergence we had as well, happening at a very important support level. So easy trades when you know what you're looking at. Euro Aussie, let's go to the daily. On Euro Aussie, we've been looking to reach this area, the 61.8 correction of this whole move, and where we had the neckline. We didn't really reach that level last week, and we was waiting and expecting a possible bounce here, since we do have this nice hidden bearish divergence. As you see, the RSI was here at the extremes and doing higher than this high here, but the price was all the way down here. So this is a very strong hidden bearish divergence, and as I said, I was hoping to reach 618 to short it from that level. Now last Friday we've got rejection, as you see. Still not the strongest one yet, but it was a clear rejection after another retest to move higher. And on the 4-hour time frame, it seemed that we had some kind of double top or triple top, whatever you call it, and this bearish divergence. So what to look for next week is, of course, how the price will react when we reach back. If we test this, let me take the right tool. What will happen if we reach and test this support area once again, where we do have the monthly pivot point and previous structure support. As you see, this structure been doing well as support here. At that time also, we probably gonna get the 200 moving average on the 4-hour at this level. So this is a very important level to keep an eye at, because we may get that bounce from this level and probably reach the 618, where we do expect the stronger reversal to the downside. The second scenario is that the price tests this break, then you could short the retest to go back down toward these areas once again. But take it one step at a time. If we test the monthly pivot point, look for a possible bounce, or if the price open and start moving higher later tonight, then you should keep an eye on this 618 area, because that could be, as you see here, a possible level to short based on that hidden divergence on the RSI as well, happening at a good level. So very interesting area up here if reached, but first seems we are heading to retest this important structure here. EuroCAD, very strong move to the upside, but then got rejected all the way back down. Since Friday, oil got that very strong move to the upside that did help all CAD pairs. Or the CAD got much stronger. The same scenario was here. I was looking to 618 to see what kind of reaction we're gonna get on that, but it seems like we never broke above the 50 as well on the daily, and this structure and this structure here being a good resistant level. But if we go down to the lower time frame, you see that this 4-hour time frame is still a bullish structure. Yeah, we've got rejected, yes, that's right. We've got this inside bar and another push lower, but if you look at the structure, you still have higher highs and higher lows on the 4-hour time frame. Before calling any reversal on this one, we need to see at least one higher high and one lower low, and that is not happening yet, so you need to see this low broken, something like this, another lower high, then there would probably be a reversal pattern here. As for now, keep an eye on this support area, because that would be a nice level of retest. As you see, structure here, been a trouble area here, and could be a trouble area once again at the trend line as well. So keep an eye on this level as your first level of trouble. If broken, then there is a possibility to test deeper, probably toward the monthly pivot point. Okay, you could also use some moving average to be your filter. On the 4 hour, you see that we're still above 20, above the 50, and above the 200. So it is very, very early to say that we have a total reversal or anything like that yet. It is still a bullish structure, but on the daily, we should keep an eye on this rejection. This is not a normal rejection. If you look at the size of this candle, it is a very big candle and got rejected strongly back below the monthly R1. The longer time it holds below the monthly R1, the bigger the risk that we may move lower to test these areas down here. Euro New Zealand still fighting above this broken structure. We broke above this important candle, which was a very, very strong bearish engulfing here. The day we broke above this candle was a clear signal that we may continue higher, but as you see, the monthly pivot point and the 200 daily moving average been acting as good resistance so far, and we should keep an eye on this area once again. So for next week, if Euro New Zealand keep consolidating or making this kind of flag here, as you see, we should keep an eye on that. Try to trade this channel until you get a break out of it, and if it happens to the upside, then your target should be around this structure level, where we could meet some resistance as a first target. Yeah, as you see, trouble at the monthly pivot point and the 4 hour 200 moving average. When we go to the daily, we see that it's 200 daily moving average also in that area. So it is testing a very, very important area, and the next level of trouble gonna be this neckline. A broke above that, then we're gonna be testing the highs. It is a clear range we are playing now. As you see here, we are in this upper range, and that is the box that been played. Yeah, so a break back above this area here, that gonna probably send us back up toward the top of the range. Euro USD, I was expecting a dip to test the yearly pivot point down here, and really a deeper test before the bounce, because this very important range here, from very old range, that since 2015, and we spend a lot of time in this range, so that is an important and major support that, if got broken on a daily structure, means we're gonna enter a longer term bearish on euro. But last week we had this box that we've been playing up and down, and on Friday we broke outside of it, retested, and did hold the highs. As you see, I would much more like it if we tested deeper, but that didn't happen yet. But still, we broke outside of the box, and overall, if we go back to the daily, bearish structure, but this now is the first time we had some kind of higher low, major higher low, since we traded almost a whole week in this area consolidating. So When this happen, when a pair consolidate for a while and break to one or the other side, in this case was to the upside, one could start think that we may get a higher push now to the upside. But the pair have a lots of structure to take care of. If you look at this area here, this is a very strong resistance level. So 1.1720 gonna be the first structure level that we may meet some trouble at. And of course, the highs of this very strong bearish candle, this candle now here is the mother of this range. So if this to continue higher and we break above the 1.1720, your next resistance level gonna definitely be the high of this candle, because that gonna probably give us a bounce to the downside once again. But what's good for the bulls, we broke above this structure and there could be some continuation to test these highs. So short term, you could look at this scenario to happen. We've got the break, we've got the retest, and we want to look for a possible continuation for next week. Keep an eye on the moving average here. 200 moving average on the 4 hour may give it some trouble, as it happened here as well. Okay, otherwise we may keep ranging in the lower box if we don't break above the level here. Sterling Aussie, as you see, a very strong bearish candle, almost a bearish engulfing. It is a bearish engulfing if you look at the bodies of the candles. Otherwise, it is an inside bar inside this previous candle. All that happening at this structure where we did close this gap, and we tested an important structure that been acting as good resistance and support in the past. RSI, we had a very strong hidden bearish divergence, as you see here, between these highs and the price. So the RSI was putting a higher high where the price was putting a lower high. And after Friday candles, one could start looking for a possible continuation lower, but be aware that it is a counter of this move to the upside, so you probably need some more confirmations. Let's take off these. We were talking about possible scenarios to the upside after the break of this structure, but that didn't happen. So we never had a real break. The price went back inside and below the structure. So for next week, guys, you see you have this trend line here that you could follow. You have the 200 moving average on the 4 hour time frame and the monthly pivot point here. So this area here gonna be an important structure level to look at for next week. Because if this really to reverse and continue lower, these need to be broken, retested, and then a deeper correction. So keep an eye on that. This could end up as a correction only. So this 4 hour time frame is still a bullish structure. No lower lows and lower highs yet. This was our last high. But the daily candle, looking at that rejection, could be a possible early warning to start looking if it's gonna continue lower. Yeah, but play the structure one at a time, and if this 200 moving average and the monthly pivot point got broken on the 4 hour, then there is a possibility that we are gonna test deeper on this one. Sterling CAD, the same as many CAD pair, rejection, strong rejection on Friday after the move up here to retest these levels. But as you see, strong rejection back toward the monthly R1, still a little bit above this support and resistance level we have here since Brexit time, and for more downside we need to go to the lower time frame. What I want to see, if this really to continue, it need to break below this structure and hold below that, then there is a possibility that we keep moving lower to make a deeper correction before a possible bounce. Yeah. So keep an eye on this monthly R1 level that need to be broken. The close on Friday was a very strong close, as you see, almost no profit taking at all. It did close at the lows of the candle, and that happened to be at the monthly R1 and this possible previous resistance that may act as support right now. So the area where the price is testing right now is a very important level to start looking at. Sterling Chief, this is maybe the one that is really the leading pair here. Bearish on the daily, it stuck and start hugging the 200 moving average on the daily for a long time, consolidation, and then a break, retest, and possible continuation. The same here. Last Friday we had a close at the lows almost, and I'm expecting possible continuation toward these areas down here to test these previous lows and this important structure down here, as you see. So below 200 daily moving average, broke the range to the downside, did some correction, and one could expect some more to the downside, trying to sell rallies. So what you could do is that you mark this structure level here. When tested, you maybe get a bounce here, or if that got broken, then you need to sell the rallies to retest these areas down here for an even deeper correction on this pair. Yeah. So mark this area, important structure here, important range that we need to see. If got broken, then we probably gonna test even lower. Sterling USD, very strong bullish engulfing on Thursday, but I didn't like it since it didn't really happen at the level I wanted to see it at. I still want to see sterling to test this structure down here. If that candle happened at that structure, that would be a much better reversal level. Yeah. But what happened here, that we did break previous low, we still have lower lows and lower highs, and I really want to see this area tested and acting as support to get some more confidence to go long. And Friday we've got a push higher, but the day didn't close above the previous day and got rejected a little bit back down. So there is a bullish divergence on the daily, but when we go down to the 4-hour time frame, you see that we are still testing this structure here. And if we're really to have any kind of reversal here, we need to see it hold above this level and probably above the monthly pivot point. So there is some resistance on the way before you start thinking about any kind of reversal here. Still bearish structure, but this candle was a very strong one last week. Consolidation again and another retest toward monthly R1. Nice push to the upside, but it is not enough to call any kind of reversal. Any retest toward the 1.32 down here could be a good level to see if you get another bounce in anticipation to break this level. Yeah. So keep an eye on 1.3200 here as a possible support level. For me, the most important support level would be down here, 1.300. that is the much better support level. But if this to start reversing earlier, we need to see some more evidence before taking any long. There is no need to pick bottoms and tops. New Zealand Jappy, almost the same structure as Aussie Jappy. We've got a bullish engulfing candle happening at this important support level where we did have this gap here, and the low before the gap happening, the high before the gap happening was expected to be a support level, since it was good support here and good support here, and we've had this test once again, fake below, then back inside. So I was looking at this area as a possible support level, and last Friday we've got a very nice bullish engulfing. RSI start moving higher again, and one could start looking for some bounce higher here for next week. So keep an eye on this same level as a possible support to find any bullish evidence in this area to take along in anticipation to break above the structure for a continuation higher if that happened. Or if the price opens and start moving higher, breaking above this structure, then you probably could look to buy the retest of the monthly pivot point targeting monthly R1 area up here. Okay, keep an eye on that 200 moving average on the 4-hour as well. Been acting as good resistance, support, and may act as resistance once again here on the way up. New Zealand USD, morning star formation on the daily. After this strong push to the downside, we got this star candle and the confirmation that the Friday close was above the high of the star, giving you morning star formation happening at a good support level. If we look left, you see why. So this whole rejection area here, still a possible good support, and we may see some more continuation to the upside to probably test this neckline or the monthly pivot point at least. So if we go down to the 4-hour time frame, this was the scenario sent in the room that we, after this bullish engulfing and morning star formation on the 4-hour as well, that we gonna retest monthly S1, get some rejection and break and continuation. That did happen. So now we need to keep following the pair and see how it will react. So we are now testing this important high, and one could expect some more correction, and if that happened toward the monthly S1, that would be the level I will be looking for bullish evidence to go long in anticipation to reach monthly pivot point or these lows up here, the lows of the upper range that could be tested as well. The monthly S1 area is a good level. As you see, if we look left here, we've been testing this area many times in the past. Support, 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 now broken, so we should see it acting once again as a possible support. Yeah. USD CAD, as I told you last week, guys, we've been following this channel, and to start looking for a possible reversal when we reach that channel. What we've got though, now when we reach that channel, a couple of days of indecision, then Friday on those bad news we got outside of the Canada, we've got this push higher to the upside, as you see, testing an important structure here. This level I mentioned last week, that could be a possible resistant level. So we tested much deeper inside here. I got stopped out because I was trying to short before the news. So first trade was stopped out, but then as you see, we went all the way back down, ended the day at the lows, closing below S1 and below this neckline. So after this spike to the upside and this huge bearish candle here, and that bearish engulfing on the daily, we do have a good signal for a possible reversal here, or at least a correction toward the monthly R1 or this major structure that got broken. So for next week, I will be looking to see if we're gonna hold below this structure here. If that happen, then I want to see we probably gonna reach this level, give a bounce, and then another move lower. Yeah, so I'm very interesting to short at the top of this channel, and any close, daily close below Friday close would be that confirmation to start shorting the pair, looking to reach this support level down here. Yeah, especially if oil at least hold at the price where it is right now or start consolidation. USD Chief, after this very strong move to the upside, we start getting a much smaller bodied candle and nice rounded top on the 4 hour and start reversing lower. Thursday we got a bearish engulfing candle, which was a strong sell signal, and then we broke this neckline on Friday, and we've got a close at the lows, which is a strong one. So I think once again we should be looking at this structure level as a possible support level for next week. And if we look at these bearish candles, it seems that the bears are really willing to retest these lows, and any break and close below this structure here gonna send us much deeper. As you see, nothing on the way here. If these lows got broken, what we do have is the monthly S1 as a possible support and the daily 200 moving average. 4 hour time frame, here we go. This was sent in the room. We never got a deeper correction, but we've got the breakout that I expected. So we broke below this range, and now we are looking to see how the price will react when we reach this important support level. In my opinion, any bounce higher gonna be a possible reason to sell in anticipation to break below this structure and probably reach the monthly S1 on the pair for next week, especially if Dixie keep moving lower and gold start moving higher. USD JAPY, I told you guys that we probably gonna have a sideways week on all JAPY pairs, and that what happened last week. Those of you who've been here last week should remember. So I still think it is the same range here. The momentum is really fading now, still struggling around the 200 moving average, playing with it, retest from below, retest from above, then close below and retested. So we're still in a indecision market here, and before any talk about continuation, both upside and downside, you do have some level that you need to watch and play. And those levels are much better seen on the 4 hour time frame. So if we look at the 4 hour time frame, we've had the monthly R1 up here around 110 and 80. Those are the highs that you should be playing short. First support level to the downside is monthly pivot point, and we do have the 108.50 at another support level. But short term for next week, I think we should now take out our 110.20 because that is not respected. What's really respected is the 110, as you see, and the price is trading just below that. So in my opinion, let's take off this as well. If we reach monthly pivot point, watch that level for a possible bounce higher, or if we start moving higher directly on the open, then monthly R1 could be your selling level. This 110 is the mid-range, and that is when things gonna be much more choppy. So if you sell the highs or buy the lows down here, that is much better area. As you see, every time we reach this level, we've got a nice strong bounce to the downside, but around the 110, it is the flip zone, and you may see some choppy markets here. Your major support gonna always be 108.50. Anything below that will send us back down to 106. 106 here gonna be your support, yeah? Now, as you see, we are heading down toward this 200 daily moving average that been acting as a very strong support. As you see, we need to go back toward 2016. We got a bounce on that, another bounce at the end, and here we got many bounces on this very important dynamic support level. Structure wise, on the daily we still have higher highs and higher lows. So this is a higher high, this is another higher low, another higher high, and now we are testing at that support level once again. This low should not be lower than this structure here. Any close below this structure here will invalidate this move to the upside and make this structure bearish. So keep an eye on that. A very important support level at the daily moving average, and of course down here, this is where you really need to watch for this support level at these lows down here. That is the, let me see, 24,200 area is your major support level to look at. 4 hour time frame, you see it clearly, lower lows, lower highs, still a bearish structure. I've always been seeing this 24,600 as a possible resistant level. Now that last candle on Friday could be profit taking, so we should not see this bearish engulfing as a signal, but it is testing that resistant level. And if you want to trade a continuation of this move, of course you need to look at this structure as possible resistant, and that we probably gonna move lower to retest of the monthly pivot point, or the last line of defense, as I said, is down here, the 24,200. This is the last line of defense that really need to be defended, yeah? And that was the last market. Let's see, I do have Hi Pierre, Aussie, New Zealand, day one also looks like forming head and shoulder, don't just sink. Let's see, Ridwan, did all the pairs now, so we could look at the pairs that you want me to look at, guys. So please, if you have any pairs or any questions, just put them in the chat. Aussie, New Zealand, we've talking about inverted head and shoulder on the 4 hour. I mentioned that in the start of the session, Ridwan, but I'm not sure what head and shoulder you are talking about on the daily. Is it an inverted head and shoulder you mean? Because if so, you're probably talking about something like this, or I'm not sure. What I really see as a possible inverted head and shoulder could be this one, Ridwan. That's all. And that would be also just a confirmation of about what we're seeing on the 4-hour, this minor inverted head and shoulder, and that we looking to see if we're gonna break the neckline for a possible continuation up. Yeah, I hope that was an answer to your question, buddy. John Ree, on what you did stop out? Was it on USD CAD? Let's see, guys. If you don't have any other questions, then thanks a lot for being here. Don't forget to hit the like button before you leaving the session. Okay, I will give you 20 seconds or so to write your question if you have any, and otherwise we will end this session. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, USD CAD stopped out there, me too. So let's see after this nice move now, possible fake out. There is a lots of long traders that went long here on this move. So the question is, where is their stop losses? Let's go down. So I think this area down here, somewhere down here, we do have a nice stop loss pocket now, and if those stop loss pockets start getting reached, that will give the move much more momentum to the downside. So those traders who went long here, if they still, then they have their stop losses somewhere in this area. Okay. And we did actually broke and closed below this low on the 1 hour time frame. So this is real nice possible reversal here we do have. So yeah, let's wait and see what we get next week. Euro Chief for Zafar, let's see. As you see, Zafar, Euro Chief is still bearish after this strong move to the downside. We did actually break below the 200 daily moving average very nicely. Found support at this level, retested the 200 moving average and the 38.2 Fibonacci. At that same level, we had the monthly pivot point. We've had some structure looking left. There was lots of troubles here at this level. If I make this one like this, you see it clearly. Yeah, a flip zone, trouble area, and this bearish engulfing candle was a very strong one. So I'm expecting a continuation to at least retest these structures down here. As you see, the low of this candle is a very important one. If that broken, then we're gonna test the monthly S1 and this important structure support looking left here. Okay, that is my opinion on the pair. Keep your eyes on this possible support level. Keep your eyes on this possible resistance level if tested again for a possible bounce once again. Below 200 moving average on the daily for me is a possible continuation to the downside after such a strong move. Weekly time frame also looking the same. So impulse, correction, and probably another impulse. Let's not forget that after the break of this move to the upside, we never really tested this very, very important structure down here. So we probably get that retest of this important structure, and the 200 weekly moving average got retested before another bounce up. Yeah, very interesting chart, by the way. You're welcome, Christina. See you in the room. Jafar, that was your answer for your chief. I don't see any other comments or questions. Thanks a lot for being here, guys. Yeah, see you out there. my lovely students and chat room subscribers. See you in the room. Yeah, bye bye.